Welcome to another tournament edition of Preps Plus Extra. How you doing? I'm Mark Stewart, prep editor of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Joining me this week, J.R. Ratcliffe, sports editor of Now Newspapers. Let's jump right into it. A fantastic week. If you're from this part of the state for the boys state tournament, 4 state champions. Division I, Germantown. Division II, Wisconsin Lutheran. Division III, Brown Deer. Division IV, Whitefish Bay Dominican. And obviously Germantown and Dominican became the, well, let me say it this way. Dominican was the 6th, and Germantown was the 7th school in state history to win 3 straight state titles. So phenomenal weekend. I mean, a lot went on there. You were up there.
Right.
What are you going to take away from last weekend?
Well, for starters, I know you got pretty quick reflexes. We had a basketball come our way on press row. You and Stephen Tietz, one of my colleagues. There it is. Some quick reflexes there at the Cole Center in Madison.
Yes. Look at the concentration in my eyes there. And
yes. Very poised.
I just let Steve have it because
he had inside position. He boxed you out.
Yeah. Well, look at the hand. The hand's right there. I could have taken it if I wanted to, but hey,
Yeah. So we had a front row seat to see some pretty good basketball. Dominican and Germantown. It almost felt like it felt like a foregone conclusion. And Nina was a really good team, and I was actually really kind of excited to see there was some drama in the Division I game because D4, D3, and D2 had all been, for the most part, blowouts. I think Brown Deer was a little bit of a surprise in D3 that they won as handily as they did, but Germantown, they were threatened a little bit, but for the most part, it just felt like once they got past Milwaukee King, which was billed as kind of this really great matchup between 2 of the top teams in the state, and it was that, but Germantown won that game going away on Friday night to the point that it kind of took a little air out of the balloon when it came to the state tournament. Obviously Germantown is one of the best teams in one of the best programs in state history. Dominican likewise, and they may have maybe the best player to ever play at Dominican in Diamond Stone, which is saying something because they have a tremendous amount of program success. There's some great players who played in the college ranks have come through there, but Diamond Stone showing how amazing he is leading Dominican. He knows nothing other than winning a state title at the end of the year. He's just a junior with 3 under his belt already, and I'm sure Dominican will be favored to win a 4th next year.
Yeah. What stood out to me, a couple things. One, in Division I, as I was sitting there in the 4th quarter of a game that's about 2 possessions, 3 possessions. One, it just, for whatever reason, I mean, the teams were out there playing hard, but for whatever reason, there wasn't that energy in the crowd.
Yeah. It
was almost like I just sat there and I was like, wow, we got like 3 minutes left in the state, boys basketball, and the crowd was kind of dead. and that was kind of strange. But the other thing I'll take away from this weekend is, having a chance to see Brown Deer up close was, they may not have been ranked in terms of, be it the coaches poll or the Journal-Sentinel poll or the AP state poll, but that was no fluke.
No,
I mean, that was a team, that was a case of a team that just got kind of overlooked because, they definitely, like I say, that was not a fluke that they beat, they won the state title in the fashion they did. That was an impressive outfit. So, and congratulations to the Falcons and Coach Kelly Appleby. But speaking of our 3-time state champions, we got some footage of those guys. Let's hear what Germantown and Dominican had to say about winning their 3rd straight championships in a row.
One of the best ever, and people may say the best ever. And you look at what these guys have done in 4 years. Some of the guys that have played 4 years, 106 wins and 4 losses. Are you kidding me? That's just it's unmatched and unheard of. And I couldn't have dreamed when we started this program years ago that we'd get to the point where people are talking about us as possibly the best team that's ever played in Wisconsin.
So overall, we talked all year about, playing full court pressure defense and not giving in, not relaxing, not letting any teams, make a big run, a little run, yes, but don't let runs extend. And I thought tonight we just did an outstanding job of staying focused. There were a few stretches where we didn't necessarily make shots, but our defensive pressure was able to turn it back around against a few layups or a free throw or a dunk. And, it was just 19 assists. I think that says a lot right there.
I think I had a lot of pressure on me, but I think my team has helped me a lot. Taiwan Bressler, Dwayne last year. we don't have him this year, so Talon had to step up, him and Austin. I think they did that. I think they showed it this weekend. And, again, Chris and Jack and the rest of my teammates, they stepped up and they made plays, and it made it easier for me.
Well, last week was the boys' state tournament. This week in Green Bay at the Rest Center, or if you want to be technical about it, Ashwaubenon.
It's across the street from Green Bay.
Yes. But the girls' state tournament is this week. From the southeast corner of the state, we got Oak Creek and Mukwonago on opposite sides of the bracket in Division I, Milwaukee Pius in Division II, Kettle Moraine Lutheran making its first trip to state in Division III, and Heritage Christian back in Division V after winning the state title 2 years ago. So, obviously it's, a lot of interesting matchups there, but, as we head into state this week, what are going to be some of the things that you're going to be paying, close attention to?
I think Oak Creek is playing its best basketball of the season right now, which is saying something. They've been really good all year, and they have 2 losses, both by 1 point, to some pretty good teams. Pewaukee, which was undefeated for a good chunk of the year, and Kimberly, which is still undefeated and will be playing them again in the state semifinals. So that'll be the matchup, similar to what we had with Germantown King on the boys' side. For people who really are into girls basketball, this is kind of the end-all be-all. These are the two, really, the teams that I think we've seen as the best 2 teams in the state all year with respect to Sheboygan North, a team that Kimberly actually faced in the sectional semifinal, and Arrowhead, a team, Kimberly's won, I think, 3 one-possession games to get here, so they've stayed undefeated, but just barely. They've had a really rugged road. Oak Creek had some good opponents in the sectional. They took care of Franklin, a team that got them last year in the sectional semifinal and beat them pretty handily, and then took care of Brookfield Central, a team that in the regular season finale, that was a 5-point game that was a non-conference game at the end, so they're ascending. They've got 2 great post players in Tamia Sims and Stephanie Kostowitz, and both Division I talents. And right now, I go into this thinking Oak Creek is kind of the team I think is going to win.
Yeah. They are definitely tough to beat when you combine that size, and if their guards are hitting from the outside, they're really dangerous there. I'm going to be interested and excited to see, because I didn't get a chance to see Mukwonago during the regular season, so to get a chance to see Bree Sarah as a sophomore and just seeing how she developed. She committed to Green Bay before her freshman year, so she's obviously a talented player. I'm also going to be interested. Milwaukee Pius plays Green Bay Notre Dame, which is the defending state champion.
Another great matchup. Right,
and Pius and Notre Dame kind of have some common opponents. Divine Savior and Mukwonago were both on each. Both those schools were on played both Pius and Notre Dame. And, it's hard to get a gauge even from looking at the scores, of who might win that one. So that's going to be one to watch. And then, jumping down to Division V, 2 years ago when Heritage Christian went, they had this kind of star power team for a Division V squad. And this year, it's sort of a surprise. They haven't, they don't have the big names that they had a couple years ago yet they've got back and they play another defending champion in Wisconsin Rapids Assumption. So it's going to be a fun weekend, and we'll see if last week we had 4. That's going to be a lot to ask for this week. But let's see. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2 champions coming back.
Yeah, Ramia Bennett from Heritage Christian has been really good, and I know she was out when they fell to Lake Country Lutheran for the conference championship. They shared the conference title this year, so still Heritage is still at a very high level, particularly at the D5 level, and that Pius Notre Dame game. Notre Dame brings some talent back from that team last year that won the title, and I think that's you're right. That might be just as showcased as the Oak Creek Kimberly game to follow later on Friday night. Right,
and we touched on Oak Creek getting back to state first time since 2008. Let's hear what Tamia Sims and Stephanie Kostowitz had to say about advancing to the state tournament.
Oh, this is surreal right now. We've been working so hard this year, and we get so close the past couple years, but now to finally be making it to state, it's amazing. I don't know how to explain it.
It would be great. It'd be the perfect way to end our senior year to win state, and I think we have the ability to win it if we wanted to. So it's just how we play, how we focus, and how we practice it next week.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Preps Plus Extra. But next week we'll talk about the girls' state tournament, and we'll talk about this controversial proposal of a multiplier for private schools that's kind of come out of the southwest part of the state. So that'll be some juicy conversation.
Yeah, I don't like it. We're going to have to talk about it next week. Something doesn't look right with this whole proposal. It could be very dramatic, and going to be a lot of discussion over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so we'll hit on those topics next week. Till next time, I'm Mark Stewart. That's J.R. Radcliffe. See you next time on Preps Plus Extra.